whoever want to become underwriter, he should have a in-depth knowledge of all these C's. But just having the knowledge of these 4 C's, you won't become underwriter. Learning and reciting all those rules and regulations that need to be applied while reviewing credit, while reviewing income, while reviewing the collateral or capital. Nobody can become underwriter. They will only become processor, good processor, high qualified processor, but won't become underwriter, because underwriting is a different thing, and review, analyze a file, that is a different thing. When we say underwrite, underwriter should have these 2 skills, and this is not something that could be learned or could be read somewhere. The origination, we discussed it, then we discussed the next, processing. Now what? The next is going to be the
qualification.
Underwriting. Loan is being submitted to underwriting. Now what is underwriting? What happens actually in the underwriting? Who are the underwriter? Who is the team members, processors, associates who are working in this department? They are being called underwriters. Now, what is the role of underwriting? Underwriting is they are going to analyze the entire file, because processing, we saw that they are going to do scrub. Scrub means they are going to review each and every document, whether documents are complete, accurate, right? According to the scenario, according to the application, whatever the data written in the application, all that data, to justify that data, to verify that data, do they have all the documents available? Once they confirm, yes, all the documents are available, then they are going to submit the file to the underwriting. Now, what underwriting is going to do? Underwriting is going to do all the analysis. Then they go to the different segments of documentation. Those are called 4 C's of the underwriting. So what is the 4 C's? Number 1, first of all, analysis, that I told you. What we need to analyze? 1003, right? That is application, and whatever the document, those comes under application, like IDs and all those, SSN card, driving license, all that information. But let's go to the underwriting analysis. That is, first one is the credit, right? So credit, what do we mean by credit? Credit means the character of the borrower, right? Character of the borrower. Now, why I am saying that character of borrower? However, we are going to review it. What is the character of borrower? By just looking at the credit report, we can make out different thing, and then we can dig out different thing from the file. That is what the real analysis of an underwriter. Right? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how we are going to proceed further, right? And this is what the first C of the credit underwriting that tells us. The second is capacity, right? That is income. So how borrower, where borrower is working, how long borrower is working, at least they are working for last 4, 5 years or 10 years. If a person just started the job, we know that we need, instead of asking borrower for us, for a previous 2 years history, we should ask them the school transcript or the college transcript or the degree, right? Give us the degree that you just started the job. Or maybe if borrower is 60 years old, 70 years old, we will come to know, okay, borrower will have some retirement account, or they could have some lot of reserve. So that is how we can analyze, and we need to go through the capacity, whether borrower has, especially whether the borrower, like what we have gone through credit, and we come to know that borrower has $5,000 per month expenses, EMI that need to pay. Seems very high. seems very high. Oh my God, borrower will be able to manage this 5,000 per month. We go to capacity. How much capacity borrower have? We came to know borrower have 15,000 income per month. Now this 5,000 expense seems very less. Now what is the ratio of 15,000 divided by 15,000? Are you able to divide 5,000 by 15,000? Multiply by
33% something, sir.
What is?
33% something, sir.
33%. So whatever the borrower income is, borrower is earning per month, he is just spending 33%. So it's like 67% of the income either going in the saving or he is just enjoying his life. Because he has just 33% of the income that is being, are the expenses for the borrower. So he can handle any situation, right? He must have some good reserves, good saving in his bank statement. That is how we can make out, right? And in this loan, I see very less risk. Just going through the two documents, there is when I see the capacity, yeah, borrower is capable of paying his payment easily. So I have less risk, right? But if this 33 will become 53, it will become 63, then it would be a worse situation for me. How to approve this loan? It could not be. And then we need to analyze again and again, and need to dig out a lot of things and need to work out on different plans, okay, for borrower, so that he or she can get loan, right? Or different programs, different products that need to be dig out. The number 3 is credit character, and the number 3 is capital. Again, capital means asset. Now there are two type of asset. One asset is related to there are two type of assets. One is liquid and non-liquid. Liquid means readily available. Like we have checking account, saving account. We can use that even without going to the bank. We can just consume money, readily available. But when it comes to property, it becomes to automobile, right? Or to any car, any bike that we have, it could be expensive. We could have use property, but that is non-liquid. It is not liquid. First, it need to convert into liquid. Then only we can pay wherever it need to be used, right? So those kind of capital. Now, both capital, borrower are going to give us stability, going to reduce the risk of underwriter or of the lender. If someone has a good saving account, right, has good money, that then I can make sure borrower has enough money, he can pay the EMI. Even if he or she lost the job, they have enough saving. At least they can survive without job, they can survive for 1 year. That kind of cops they have in their bank, right? That kind of money they have saving, they have very good retirement account. So they have a good, reserves in their bank. So that is going to give me a stability for my analysis that, okay, yes, we can take some risk or there is less risk. Number 4, collateral, right? What is collateral? Collateral is the asset which we are going to, take a loan, right? So how I will, this is my collateral, against this collateral I can take any loan. But any loan, how to decide what loan? First I need to decide what is the value of this property, and for that I need to appraise the property, not me, but someone who is qualified to give it a value, market value. If I am going to sell this property or this asset right now in the market, what is the price I should get? So let's stick as of now to collateral means appraisal. Appraisal document which actually state what is the worth of this property or this asset, right? These are the 4 related to underwriting. Whoever want to become underwriter, he should have a in-depth knowledge of all these C's. But just having the knowledge of these 4 C's, you won't become underwriter. That I can tell you now. What I am telling, that even if you know all these 4 C's, what are these, how to analyze these C's, you won't be able to become underwriter. Underwriter doesn't mean that I can make checklist for each of these 4 points. Even then, while looking at checkpoints and by doing check marks or checking those boxes, you won't be able to become underwriter, because underwriter has different C's. Going into those C's, before there is one more C that also related to underwriting, and that is compliance. But most, if somebody is asking you for the 5th C, yes, you can create that. Yes, there is a compliance, means all the compliance, all the rules and regulations should be met. Not related to in these documents, but there are other documents, all the disclosure, federal disclosure, and what do we say, federal, state disclosure, LE, CD, all those. What are those? Those are compliance, right? Government rules that we need to follow. Everyone need to follow. But those could be analyzed, verified by the non-underwriters as well. So that is why compliance. Whenever someone asks underwriting, we mostly say four different C's of the underwriting, which is being analyzed by the underwriter, not the 5th one. If someone see, I told you that it's the will of lender, right, or the availability of work in the lender's office. If someone has 2 underwriters, they are working for lender and they don't have enough work, obviously they are not going to form another team to do the compliance check. They will say them, okay, you have only 2 files to do in the entire day. You can also check the compliance whenever you don't have any extra work, or this is just one more checklist that you need to follow. You can do it within next 15-20 minutes. So just please do this compliance check as well, right? But mostly, most of the lenders or most of the clients, they don't want to consume their underwriters. Underwriters are slightly highly paid than the other team members. So if that is happening, if underwriters are getting more paid, why someone is going to pay something more money just to check the compliance? It could be done by other people as well, who are just becoming underwriter, who are junior underwriter. They can also do all these compliance checks. So that is what the mindset behind. But again, it's it could be customized according to the client to client, or lender to lender, bank to bank. Are we good till this? Till this point? Good. I hope I'm going to remove it and everyone has written down. However, we are going to do everything in detail, so don't worry. It is just the cycle that we are discussing, not the underwriting. Okay, so don't worry. It's not underwriting. Okay. Now, what I am telling, these are the 5 C's of underwriting, but there are those are not the only one. There is next C is also, that is known as common sense. Number 7 is the compensating factor. Compensating factor. These are the 2 C's. These are the 2 C's. Those belong not to the file but belong to the underwriter. Now I am telling, even going through all those 4-5 C's and learning and reciting all those rules and regulations that need to be applied while reviewing credit, while reviewing income, while reviewing the collateral or capital. Nobody can become underwriter. They will only become processor, good processor, high qualified processor, but won't become underwriter, because underwriting is a different thing, and analyze a file, that is a different thing. When we say underwrite, underwriter should have these 2 skills, and this is not something that could be learned or could be read somewhere. These are the skills that comes with the practice only. There is no alternative for all these things. For both, if you need to use compensating factor in your file, if you want to see what are compensating factor, how you are going to compensate one component with another component, you need practice. If you need to use common sense, you need to put common sense, you need to develop your common sense, you need practice. Without practice, no one can become underwriter, and it could not be Practice could not be done in a day, in a month, or even in a year. It needs years, but you need practice. More practice, more files, more dummy files, more test loads, more live files, more post-closing files, whatever the segment, whatever the part you are getting about the underwriting, do it. That is the only method to become expert with these two C's. Common sense, where to use common sense, how to use it. It is not something which we can read out. It is something that we need to develop from the inside. How to compensate credit with from income, how to compensate capital with income, all those skills need to be developed. Without these two underwriting skills, there is no alternative. Forget about becoming an underwriter. You can become analyzer, you can work as an underwriter, but you won't be, even from inside, you won't be feeling as whether I'm underwriter or not. The only thing I cannot do, these are the two common sense and compensating factors that you need to develop within yourself. If you won't be able to develop, you won't be able to become underwriter. He is the underwriter who is going to work for the lender. Underwriter is the only person who is working for the lender so that lender does not get into any risk. How? Because the file which we are going to create, it should have a quality, it should be like diamond, which could be sold in the secondary market within a seconds, within a moment. How that will be sold? If we will be underwriting it very well, we'll be following all the guidelines and we'll be putting all the alternatives in that, and that file should have all the documents available. It should follow the guidelines. It should show that yes, it has a worth of 100,000 plus interest. Then only this file will be purchased by the investor, and then only our lender will get the money, and that is how we are going to get paid. Does that make sense?
Yes,
so whenever it says that what is underwriting is to analyze the document and to collate all the documentation and make it a quality file so that it can be easily sold in the secondary market. We are not working for with any other aim. If borrower is telling that I don't have pay stub because I'm not getting pay stub, then I need to know what is the alternative for that pay stub. I cannot say, okay, we are not going to give you loan. As an underwriter, all the entire ecosystem is just looking at underwriter, okay, what can be done now? So underwriter should have this information, every alternative for each document. What document that needed to underwrite the loan? What document that needed to be in the file so that file could be sold in the secondary market? Loan officers, processors, closers, funders, shippers, all are going to look at the underwriter. Okay, what should be done? How we can approve the loan? Whether this loan could be approved? What alternative document? Who is going to give the alternative? It is underwriter. It is underwriter only. So all the document we should not focus only on the pay stub or one document, but whenever we are going to analyze, whenever we are going to learn underwriting, what we need to learn, what are the different documents. It should be a list of documents, not only the pay stub. What is the alternative of pay stub if pay stub is not available? Each underwriter should have at least 4 to 5 alternatives for each condition. If one document is not available, what are the other documents? If borrower has to prove whether they are living in the property which they are occupying, whether that is the primary or not. How we are going to justify that he is living in the primary residence? We are going to ask him, okay, if you are living in the primary residence, send us the document, right? Some document. Now, what borrower is not an underwriter. How he can or she can get to know, okay, what should be a document to prove the occupancy? It is we, underwriter. We will tell them, okay, send us utility bill. It could be water bill, it could be electricity bill, which should be on your name only, and it should be at least for 2 months. Those are the utility bill, and not only the utility bill, but we are going to provide them. These are the utility bill. Any of them, send any of one. That will be acceptable. It's very easy, just within a second. But the first, what is the condition? We need to know first what are the alternatives. Underwriting is not a checklist based process. If anyone is giving you a checklist based process, that is not an underwriting. This is what the underwriting that we are discussing. And there is lot of things to need to learn. Whatever I am going to tell you, that is just 1% of the underwriting. Rest of the 99%, it is a skill that need to be developed. And now underwriter is going to analyze the file, going to analyze, going to verify, going to make out all these 4 C's using all the common sense and compensating factor, and then ultimately, if approved, we are good to send okay, file is approved in underwriting, right? Now it is good to close, good to be closed, and then the next step is going to be the closing. Are we done? Are we clear with all these 3? Origination, processing, underwriting, all the steps are different from each other, right? There is nothing. The only thing, before sending the file, they have a purpose need to fulfill. They are fulfilling that purpose, then they are only moving the file. So underwriting is done, origination, processing. Now the closing. How the closing happens?